if you're not gonna do a job right, don't bother. Super annoying. So I was hoping I was just gonna be able to knock the clear coat off of it and just deal with the red. That ended up not being the case because the red was stuck to the clear coat, but nothing was stuck to the blue. So I'll post a picture right here of the absolute lack of prep work that went into this. You know, for the amount of effort that went into this job, you would have thought like the 4 minutes worth of sanding would have gone a long way. You have to understand that these people went to a lot of trouble to spray this and then clear it incorrectly. They went to all the trouble and never took the badge off, didn't pay under the badge. So just, yeah, I don't know, I just can't say this loud enough. Just, if you can't do it, don't bother with it. You're just making it worse, especially when you're doing this kind of stuff, okay? Either take 5 minutes to go figure out how to do it, or save up some money and pay someone who knows how to do it. Okay, it's that simple. So where we're at right now is, because of where I'm at, I went and bought paint for this, paint and primer to fix this. So it has to come off the car now. I guess it doesn't have to come off the car, but it's gonna come off the car so I can finish it. Because the reality of this situation is, like, this is all gonna have to be kind of touched right here, right? Didn't take that off, just painted over it, and that works good. Same thing with that side, just painted over it. Painted over the hinge. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the hood on. I went ahead and got this one most of the way prepped out. It turned out real good. Most of the oxide came off. It kind of went a little thin right there. And then you can see the paint's just rusted through in some spots, but otherwise it's straight, you know? It's really a shame. This truck's in really good shape, like as far as the body and the rust. Just, I don't know where it came from. The paint just got ruined. So what I'm gonna do is just put the hood in here to get it out of my way. I'll go ahead and get it installed here a little bit later. Alrighty. Let's get that tailgate off there. All right, so the first thing that needs to go on here is this wiring harness needs to get unplugged and pulled back through there. Wiring's out. I'm gonna go ahead and get this hinge hardware out. Oh my gosh, lucky. Look at that. More evidence of awesome paint work right there. Hey, at least there's Loctite on that bolt. What I ended up doing was pulling these license plate hooks out of there. Those are just kind of like a snap-in. They don't really give much flex to come back out of there, so just kind of be patient with that. Probably not really necessary either. I'm just kind of OCD about those. Keep your license plate from rattling against the gate, especially with big bays. So basically what that did is I got these holes cleaned up so I can get the rest of that red paint out of there. Now the gate's ready to come off, so we're just gonna undo the hinge bolts there, and then you got to be your retraction spring right there is underneath there, so you might have to fight with that a little bit. But otherwise the gate's ready to come off now, so let's take it off. Milwaukee, even though I'm not sponsored like all these other kids, these tools are pretty friggin' rad, honestly. There we go. Come on, yeah. All right, so reality is I probably should have done that from the get-go. Wife said to do it, and I didn't. I should have. Wife said to do it, and I didn't. I should have. Wife said to do it, and I didn't. I should have. So, back to more sanding fun. Alright, so this last little underlaying, I didn't get all the red off of it, so I'm just going to finish getting the red off. She is basically stripped all the way down now. I got inside basically all stripped off as well. This whole lower valance area, or the lower area of the door, that's totally all exposed, right? So I guess that deal's kind of in the way there, but that's where the tailgate would go. So that lower piece of the tailgate hangs down here. So it kind of needs to match. Basically where I'm at with this guy now, I believe, is to the point where I can start going back with primer. I think I've touched everything, so I don't know. I think probably the best solution for this is going to be, I don't know, there's just no real way that's going to be spectacular to do this, I think. Maybe I'll call somebody that knows something more about paint than myself. There's a reason I don't do potty and paint work, because it's just terrible, and quite frankly, it's just super bad for my OCD. Probably anybody else that wasn't a complete crackhead would have just let that gate go, right? Because the rest of the truck kind of looks like dog shit anyway. But it was just one of those things where that panel's good. And originally what I was going to do there is just knock the clear off because it was falling off. It should have just come off. I was going to knock the clear off so it would be matte, and then I can put that that sealer on there so it all sort of matched at least. But yeah, what ended up going on, like I said before, the red and the clear coat stuck together really good. So when I was trying to take the clear off, it was just peeling the red all off. And so I really just didn't have any choice but to get down to the blue. And then when I got down to the blue, I realized that it wasn't prepped at all. It was literally, whoever sprayed this didn't, they didn't sand. They didn't do any sort of prep work at all. So no matter what I was going to do right there, it was just likely going to fall off again. So I honestly just can't with good conscience do that kind of, I can't do that kind of work. So a little bit of extra time, it will pay off. So I'm going to have 2 really super clean panels on this truck, and the rest of them are going to look like shit. I don't know. I think it's going to turn out all right when it gets all rubbed down. This is like all chalked. Basically, I kind of went over a lot of this, and because all the paint's like this, like I knocked the fenders. You can see the fenders and the hood are all knocked down. The cowling. But yeah, this fender's turned out super nice. It's super straight. Again, like this whole side of the truck was definitely better. But you can see this one, the fender was burnt down and it got down in the primer there. I think this is the side. There's like a little bit of filler in there right here, so I didn't go crazy taking that out. But yeah, you know, like this is the good paint behind the mirror. It was all good, and the rest of it's just roachy. So I'm just gonna knock all this down and hit it with that sweet patina stuff. I wouldn't normally do that, but that's kind of the way we're going with this guy. So yeah, I built it to use. Don't really want to put a super nice paint job on something that, you know, is purpose built. It seems kind of silly. It's a frivolous use of money, in my opinion. So so yeah, that's that. We're gonna start going back the other way with this guy. Yeah, so we'll see you soon. Good morning, back on this paint project. I had to go get some cleaning supplies so I can get this little nasty shit off of here. But really what I'm gonna end up doing today is I'm gonna try to get primer on this. I'm gonna get primer on it. I'm just gonna clean it. I'm gonna go over the exterior side with some 300, because this was all stripped with like 80, so it's got some nice anyway, it's got some lines in it. So the pieces that are going to be exposed that you can see good, I'm gonna go over it with the 300 just to knock it down a little bit, and then we'll put some primer on it. We're gonna put a bunch of primer on it, and then get that all knocked down and get ready to go to paint. So here we go. Stuff, right? So that's basically all dealt with. Get it all kind of smoothed out. It's pretty easy. So now I'm going to go ahead and start doing the wipe down. I kind of want to hang it. We can give it an initial wipe down, and then I'm going to hang it. That's what's going to go on here. All right, so we've got this guy basically masked off. We're ready to start doing primer on it. So I'm going to start getting primer sprayed on this guy. Just kind of trying to avoid a little bit of overspray to the front there. I put that masking on there. So this is probably kind of my OCD just getting away from me right here. Need to spray it a little on with my life. So yeah, I'm gonna start putting some primer down. Okay, back at it. So we got all the primer dealt with yesterday and it turned out pretty good for what we're doing. So this morning I'm just gonna go ahead and knock all this primer down and get ready to start putting some color on it. Basically what I want to do is just kind of smooth this out and get just kind of the way the primer lays down. It ends up being kind of roughish. So we just want to get in there and smooth that all out. Probably what I'm gonna do is knock it down with some 1000 grit, I think. A bunch of different things here, or maybe I'll do the 600 bit. Anyway, I'm gonna knock that down real quick, get it cleaned up, and then we're gonna start going back with color. So here we go. now all the initial primer sand is done. Just want to knock like all the overspray kind of off there and get it smoothed out. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the wipe down, do a little bit of masking on the front side, and then we will get this thing going back the other way. Colors, the colors. All right, well, we are out of material, so that's about as good as it's gonna get. These paints are, these are a color match paint can. I got these from a place near me called Industrial Finishes, I believe. And they're really good about, they can color paint match these, and they're fairly reasonable price on these. I think, I'm pretty sure I paid about like $32 or $35 can for those last time, and like $12 of that is the can itself. So that's kind of harsh. I just don't ever do paint. So when I have to do these kind of jobs, that's probably what's gonna happen. Yeah, that's just not my deal. In fact, that's kind of why I'm in off-roading. I had a nice car for a while, like it wasn't a hot rod, but if something with nice paint, and it just made me neurotic. Worried about people running into me and door dinging me, and just, I'd rather have like one less thing to worry about, right? So, yeah, that being said, that's what my paint looks like. I've been trying to scrape that color off that thing the whole time I've had it. It just won't come off. So, I guess we're about buttoned up with that paint job. Probably what's gonna go down is I'll let that dry out, see how it cures up. It didn't look like it went down super duper glossy. I was kind of trying not to put it on there super heavy, and I don't know, that's just kind of how that goes. The problem is, like, that single stage paint, it goes nice and shiny and then it runs. So I was just really kind of trying not to run that. Reality is that rig's like a 50 footer, 100 footer at best, so at least that paint will look kind of uniform, and that's mostly what I was going for with that. It's just getting that cleaned up so it was one color and will match. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so talking about the tailgate reassembly here, this outer scraper piece is available. Here's your part number for that. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the inner tailgate scraper isn't available, and it is different than the outer. The clips are different. So for some reason the inner clips are available, but not the inner weather strip. While we're talking about scrapers, this wasn't shown in the other video, but we replaced the scrapers on the front door, the outers, and these are going to be your part numbers right here. They are specific to the left and the right side because of the way the clips hit the door and stuff. Again, those clips were colored differently for left and right. And then continuing with the tailgate, I did go ahead and end up replacing the tailgate control cables. One of them was broken, and these do get sticky. This is your part number. There is no longer a left and right. They're both running the same side.
Hey, it's Jess. This last little bit was recorded earlier, but I wanted to save it until now because I think it has more to do with the tailgate than it did with whatever he was rambling on about when he said it. But in this video, Gnob talks about some of the common causes for the rear window not to operate. So I thought it would be useful to watch here. I also thought you might enjoy seeing a little bit of footage of Danny in the wild.
Well, the tailgate work that I ended up doing, I ended up pulling the glass out so I could work with this. What was going on is there was a short in the wire that was turning on the back door light, and typically so I forget about this, but in my car, this is your back door switch right here, right? So it's actuating this guy right here to turn on your dash, okay? But the other piece that I forget, because typically I will wire around this latch is connected to this switch, okay? That wire is also connected to the back door wire. And so if you're familiar with these at all, what'll happen sometimes is if this driver door catch doesn't go up and close, it doesn't close the switch all the way, like your tailgate is all the way closed, but that switch is floppy and loose, then the window won't actuate. It's an extra safety. Like, they put so many safeties on these things that it's like, I mean, how many 4Runners have you seen that the back window doesn't work, right? Typically it's something very simple. 9 times out of 10, it's either this switch, this thing's fucked up, your cover top, where you have to put the bolt into, that switch right there is broken. Something with the rear wiper, okay? So I know a lot of people don't use the rear wiper. It doesn't really work effectively. It doesn't always park that good. So what I recommend you do is just park the wiper and unplug it. That'll eliminate one of your problems. Because the reality of the situation is these relays are very reliable. Typically you're not going to have a problem unless they get wet, corroded, something like that. So I wouldn't sweat that. But anyway, so I got this tailgate all good and ready to rock and roll. The key switch works the way it's supposed to. The switch works the way it's supposed to. It's really drag having a 4Runner that the rear gate doesn't work properly on. Really sucks. So anyway, so there's a quick note. I'm gonna splice this wire up real quick and get this guy back together.
That wraps up another episode of Snale Racing.
Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe.